Hey guys, it's me, Liz. I have done this voiceover 4 times now. I think I'm coming down with a cold, and I'm kind of at a point where you're getting what you get. Hooray! So, I do want to talk really quick about the materials I found in my stash of unused sketchbooks, a Strathmore travel watercolor sketchbook. And the one thing that was very interesting about it was that it was 100% cotton paper. I know that I really love to paint on cotton paper. I also used in this video pencils and a kneadable eraser as well as my Posca Pens. I did do some quick sketches. Now I feel like I either over prepare or under prepare when I'm making a YouTube video, or like just making art in general, and in this case I did under prepare. I wish I had done a few more sketches and come up with a few more ideas. The next thing that I really kind of want to talk about with you guys is my posting schedule. Posting every weekend is really hard because there's a lot of work that goes not only into the painting but goes into the editing process. I also have a full-time job and apparently a social life, which I'm surprised by. I mean, you know. Anyway, I'd still like to apologize for missing last weekend with no warning, but consider this your warning going forward that I will be posting every weekend except for one in every month. So I'm taking one weekend off every month. Another thing that I'm working on is watching where I'm filming. I have a tendency to just dig into the drawing and not pay attention to whether or not I'm drawing on frame. It is something that I'm working on and I'm aware of, and I'm hoping that it gets better in the more distant future, because I can tell you, since I've already started editing the next videos, it's not going to get much better for the next two. So I do want to at least warn you about my Posca Care tragedy that I have here. I was separated from a lot of my art supplies for a really long time with very little warning, and so some of them were not stored properly, including my Posca Pens, and I really can't afford to replace them at this point in time, so I am going to continue to use them until they're utterly unusable. However, that means that there's going to be some mistakes. And I think that actually is a really good way to transition into what I want to talk about as my general theme for this month, or for this video. With Inktober, there's a lot of pressure on artists to draw every day, and I think that we need to give ourselves permission to rest and make mistakes. And so this video is going to be talking about 2 ways to really be kind to ourselves. And one of those ways I'm going to just start off with is I am going to already, this video is coming up after Inktober starts, but I'm recording this before Inktober starts. I'm giving myself permission now on September the 28th that I am allowed to quit Inktober early. I'm allowed to skip days. I'm allowed to skip prompts, because I just don't want to take the pressure of having to draw something that I am not really into, or having to force something out of me. I also have a lot going on, and I'm sure we all do. And so we just need to be a little more forgiving with ourselves when it comes to creating art, and especially when it comes to taking on challenges like Inktober. So I hope that you'll join me in being kinder to yourself when it comes to your goals and how much art you want to create. Now, the other thing is that a lot of times we're not giving ourselves credit for the art that we make because we feel like bad art is not art. Bad art is still art. And so I would encourage you to go ahead and make bad art because you've learned from that. You've learned what not to do. And so those are the two ways that I really want us to be more forgiving to ourselves as artists. I want us, and I'm very guilty of all of those things. I want us to not have to feel like we have to adhere to very high quantity levels when it comes to making our art. And I also don't want us to feel like we have to adhere to very high quality levels when we're making our art. Art is art, and we should be here for the process. So as I was saying about Inktober, I do still have goals that I want to work on, and I want to talk a little bit about those goals. So I'm kind of getting back to basics with my Inktober. I want to talk, I really love color. Color is one of my favorite things about art, and so I want to talk about how I want to work on color choices and how I want to get that I want to work on, coming up with color stories or coming up with limited color palettes or, things like that. That also kind of leads into the fact that I want to work on deepening my shadows. So I'm really good at a highlight and placing a highlight, and I love the highlights. They're like the cherry on top of the drawing sundae. However, I also need to really enjoy shadows in the same way, because that'll make my highlights pop even more. And there's a really good Bob Ross quote about it that I can't remember, but it basically comes down to we have to have the dark to appreciate the light. And that's pretty much where I'm going with that. Anyway, the last thing that I really want to work on is kind of two things, but like they're so closely related that I really want to talk about them together, and that is sketching and composition. So all too often when I sit down to do art, I want to make a final piece. I want there to be something in the end that I could scan into my computer, upload to Redbubble, or upload to something and have a finished product. Art doesn't have to be like that. I want to be a little more experimental and sketchy in my Inktober sketchbook. That also means that I want to play with composition. I want to play with the way that I put together a picture or tell a story. And so that's also going to be something that I want to work on in this particular practice. So those are my goals. And so what I'm kind of picturing is going to happen, actually, and I don't have an outline for this, so this might be a mess, is that I have a lot of footage that I've already filmed to fill up the month of October. And so what I'm going to do is post regular videos through October, and then maybe at the end of October and early November we're going to do an Inktober tour. And at the end of that, because I've already given myself permission to quit or skip things, in the end there may not be a whole lot of stuff to go through, but at least in the end we're going to go through what I did, what I didn't do, and what I thought worked and what I thought didn't. And so that'll be at the end of October, maybe beginning of November, that you'll see that video. But the next few videos are just going to be like basic YouTube videos. And in fact, like I've been saying, the voiceovers, which everybody seems to really like the voiceovers, and I'm glad for you, but they really hold up the process. It's the whole reason this video wasn't posted on time. The only thing I was waiting on was the voiceover, and I just put it off until today. You can see how they kind of hold up the process. I'm not good at the whole talking thing, and I'm literally at a point like, this is the 4th time I've done this. This is the one I'm gonna use. If it's not good enough, oh well, it's gonna be a good lesson in what I've been talking about with the arts, where you get a bad voiceover, you know? You get a bad voiceover the same way you get a bad painting sometimes. And I am simultaneously sorry for that, but also not sorry. So that's where I'm at. Cool beans. Anyway, I'm looking at my plants and I know they need watered, so I'm going to wrap this up really quick. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to help me think of a catchphrase for the end of my videos, I feel like all YouTube artists have one. Like Emily Artful is the one that I've been watching. I always watch a lot of Emily Artful. I like her a lot. She's a lot of fun. She gets kind of ranty sometimes. I feel like maybe I'm taking after her a little bit. Anyway, she always tells you to stay out of trouble. I always just say bye-bye. So I feel like I need something more than bye-bye. Because my mom says that too. Pretty sure everybody says bye-bye. Anyway, well, if you can help me think of one and you think of something great, put it down in the comments. I'd be happy to see it. And I like to respond to comments. So please, please, please leave comments. I love comments. Also, like and subscribe so that maybe you can watch the next video if you want to. Regardless, I hope you have a great day, and bye-bye!